Hari Om students, I hope you all are doing well and being at home just enjoy the classes with all the subject teachers, and I hope you are really finding interest in the subject that I'm taking now, that is science, and we are going through the chapter force and pressure. And in the last two classes we have understood the meaning of force, the effects of the force, and the different examples of the forces we have in the nature and how are they different from each other. And today we are going to continue the same chapter, and the topic we are going to take today is the pressure. And before the pressure we'll talk about balanced and unbalanced forces that are really applicable in the real life situations and will help you to understand the concept. Plus the pressure is totally different that you have not done so far in this any class before 8th, and since it's a new topic for you, I'll try my best to explain properly so that you can get it, and based on the same we have lots of applications in the real life. So I'm going to discuss the force, unbalanced and balanced forces. I'm going to discuss the pressure, and I'm going to take the examples from the real life situations where we are actually applying the concept. So I hope you will be finding interest in this class today, and the request I have is, if you are going through the classes, maintaining notes is very important, doing the questions equally important, and once you have done the questions which are given by me, you need to mail the same to me so that I can go through and can see if your work is done properly. So let's start the class. So let's start. The topics we have today are balanced and unbalanced forces and pressure. So let's understand the concepts. And the very first we are going to discuss about net force on the object. Means the question we have is, if on the same object different number of forces are acting on the object, then what will be the total force acting on the object? That total force, overall force, will be called net force. And how much force will be acting on the object, that will be decided by the number of forces acting on the object and the direction of force in which they are acting. So let's see two different concepts. The very first is, the forces acting on the object are added if the forces are in same direction. So let's understand this properly with the help of diagram. Now you can see one trolley is here. In the same trolley or on the same trolley there are two different forces. One is 60 Newton. So capital N is for Newton, that is the unit of force we discussed in the previous class, and 30 Newton, and both are along the same direction, that is right hand side. So arrow are basically showing you the direction of force. So if on the same object different number of forces are acting along same direction, then total force will be nothing but the sum of all these forces. So in this case the total force acting on the object is 60 plus 30, 90 Newton. So it is understood, if we go on applying different number of forces on the same direction, in the same direction, then automatically the net force will increase and overall the impact on the object can increase. So this is one way. Another is, the forces are subtracted when they are acting in opposite direction. So you can see, now on the same trolley there are two different forces. One is 10 Newton, which is acting towards which direction? Left hand side. And another is 30 Newton, which is acting towards right hand side. So overall the net force on this object will be 30 minus 10, that is 20 Newton. Why? Because in this case the two forces are in opposite direction. So if the forces are in opposite direction, we need to subtract the forces, and now overall the force coming is 20, and that must be towards the right. Why? Because towards the right we have the greater force, that is 30 Newton. So this is how we can find out the net force acting on the object, if we see the directions, if they are same direction or opposite direction. So I hope this part is clear. This will help you to understand the next concept, that is balanced force. Now see the example. Now in this example you can see 3 persons one side and 3 persons other side, and you can see the arrow mark which are shown here. 300 Newton force is acting towards right and 300 Newton force is acting towards left. So overall, in which direction the rope will move? So it is understood, if the forces are equal and opposite, the net force acting on this rope will be how much? 300 minus 300, 0 Newton. So it is understood, in this case net force is not there, so the rope will remain at the same place, and such a force is called balanced force. Means if the net force acting on an object is 0, then force is said to be balanced. So here we have subtracted 300 and 300 because they are in opposite direction. So the only thing is, if overall force acting on the object is 0, that is called balanced. So we can say one force is being balanced by the other force. Same like two forces can be balanced by some other forces. So overall, if the forces are balanced, means cancelled out, we say the net force on the object is 0, and this is called balanced. And in such case, it will not affect the motion. So overall force is not there on the object, so motion of the object will not be affected, because the motion of any object will be affected if there is a net force acting on the object. So that is to be understood. Unbalanced. So you see another example. So 2 persons are trying to push and pull the same object, and the boy is giving force in right hand side. So he is basically pulling and giving the force of 20 Newton, and the girl is pushing the same object in the same direction, right hand side. So overall these two forces are along the same directions. So how much will be the net force? We know in the same direction we need to add it. 25 plus 20, 45 Newton. In which direction? Right. So it is understood, in this case the object will get overall force of 45 Newton, and that will be along which direction? That is right hand side. So it is understood, if the object will move, it will move in right direction. So this is called unbalanced. That is, if net force acting on the object is non-zero, means it is not 0, it is some force, then it is unbalanced, and it is understood it will affect the motion. So if overall force will be there on the object, the motion will be affected. Now motion will be affected means the speed of the object will change. So the speed of the object can increase, can decrease if the net force is acting on the object, and it will not be affected if the net force will be 0. That is the importance of balanced and unbalanced force in the nature. So I hope you can differentiate the two, and you can find more examples from the real life situations. So we are moving to the next topic, that is pressure. So we'll understand this concept, and I hope you'll be able to understand the concept properly. So before we start, we should know, like, if you are applying the force on any object, so the object will have some impact, means it will have some impact in the sense, like if you are trying to give the force to the balloon, now the balloon will compress. So the compression of the balloon is the impact of the force given by you. So in general, how much will be the impact, that will be decided on very first thing, that is how much is the force given by you. So if you see this example, if you are giving the force to the balloon, it is understood the more force you give, the more impact you will give to the balloon, means it will have more compression. Am I clear? So we can say, like, overall impact on the object is directly proportional to the force. Proportional means If we increase the force, the impact will increase. If we decrease the force, the impact will decrease. That is the meaning of proportional. So it is directly proportional. So we can say impact is proportional to force. So between impact and the impact and the force, the symbol you see, the sign you see, it is basically the symbol for proportional, which means depends directly. So this is one thing, that is impact of a force depends on its magnitude. Magnitude is how much is the force. Like if force of 20 Newton is given, if the force of 100 Newton is given, if the force of 200 Newton is given, then three forces are different, the number is different, the quantity is different. So it is understood with the increase in the amount of force, that is called magnitude, the impact will increase. So this impact is to be understood. Next, impact of force is inversely proportional to the area of contact between the agent of force and the object. That is, more is the area of contact, less will be the impact, and vice versa. Now see this example. So when you try to insert the iron nail into the wall, you hit the iron nail with the hammer. Now you are given two different types of the nail. The first one you can see drywall nail, and the second one is flooring nail. Now if you try to insert both the nails one by one on the same wall, what will happen? The drywall nail will be inserted easily as compared to the flooring nail. Why? Because if you see the drywall nail, the pointed end is pointed enough as compared to the flooring nail. So we can say in the drywall nail, the pointed end has very less area as compared to the pointed end of flooring nail. So if you compare the nail 1 and 2, you'll see that the one which has lower area or less area at the pointed end will be inserted easily. So it is understood, when we are hammering the nail, you are giving the force, but this force itself will not decide if the nail will be inserted or not. It will also depend on how much is the area of the pointed end. So if area is minimum, it will have more impact on the wall, so it will be inserted easily. If the area is quite more large, in that case the impact will be less, it will be inserted with difficulty. So if you are taking the two different nails one by one on the same wall and you are giving the same force to each with the help of hammer, it is understood the nail with the pointed end, that is drywall, will be inserted easily as compared to the flooring. So we can say that in this case the impact is also depending on area of contact, that is the area between the object, which is the wall here, and the agent. So agent is the force given on the nail. So nail itself is giving the force to the wall with the help of hammer. We are giving the force, but the nail is finally giving the force to the wall. So we can say the contact area between the nail and the wall will decide the impact, and less is the area, more will be the impact. So we can say impact is proportional to 1 upon area. 1 upon area means less is the area, more will be the impact, more will be the area, less will be the impact, and this kind of relation is called inversely proportional. So the first one is directly proportional, that is if force will increase, impact will increase, if force will decrease, impact will decrease. So both are increasing and decreasing together. In second case, it is opposite. If area will decrease, impact will increase, and if the area will decrease, impact will increase. So I hope this part is clear.
and this kind of relation is called inversely. So if you compare or combine both the things together, we can say the overall impact is proportional to the force divided by area. Means overall impact of the force on any object will depend on area, will depend on the force, and this is impact is called nothing but pressure. So overall impact of any force on any object that depends on the force and the area is given the name called pressure. So we can say pressure is nothing but force divided by area, and indirectly it is nothing but overall impact of the force. So based on this, we have the definition of the pressure, that is force acting per unit area is called pressure. So force acting which is on the object per unit area means divided by area, and that is how we get the definition of the pressure. So this is a formula we have obtained with the help of explanation, and I hope you understood the meaning. So briefly we can summarize. If you are giving the force on any object, then how much will be the impact on the object? That will depend on two things: the force itself, means how much is the force given by you, is it 20, 100, 1000 Newton, and how much is the area between the object and the agent. And more is the force, more is the impact, less is the area, more will be the impact, and this is nothing but called pressure. So I hope you can relate. Now since pressure is force upon area, so if we have to increase the pressure, what can be done? We can increase the magnitude of force. Magnitude means quantity. If the force was 20 Newton, make it 40, make it 30, make it 100, make it 60. So if you go on increasing the force, means you are increasing the magnitude, and magnitude is nothing but the number, the quantity. Okay, so we can increase the pressure first of all by increasing the force, or decrease the area of contact between the agent of force and the object, or we can decrease the area, because we understood less is the area, more will be the impact. So this is how we can change the pressure given by any object on the other. So now since we have understood this relation, let's see some applications of the pressure in the daily life. You'll understand with the examples in a proper way. Means we are really applying the concept of this pressure in the daily life. So very first, let's talk about the shape of a board pin. So very first, you can see the picture. It's a board pin, you might have seen, and it has one end pointed, which is A, and another end flat surface, which is B. So it is understood when we are trying to insert this on the board, two things are required. Very first, one side it should give maximum impact on the board so that the pin can be inserted. So this is only possible if the area is less. So point A is very pointed, we can say, or it has very less area, so that once we give the force from side B or end B, it will have maximum impact on the board and it can be inserted. But at the same time, when we are giving the force to the board pin, we can also get hurt at the back, that is the thumb can also can be hurt, and that's why we want to have minimum pressure on the thumb. So when we are giving the force on the board pin, we want the pin to be inserted, and also our thumb should not be affected. So side B is having more area, so that it will give less impact on your thumb, because more area, less pressure. So when you are inserting this board pin on the board, your thumb is getting minimum pressure, and point A is getting maximum pressure, and this is how it works. So end A is pointed, less area, so that it can be inserted easily. As we know, pressure is force upon area, hence less will be the area, more will be the pressure. But end B is broad, that is more area, so that it will give less pressure on our finger. As more is the area, less will be the pressure. So if both the ends of the board pin will be pointed, so can you insert it on the board with the help of your finger? No, it will get inserted into your finger also. That's why we have to prevent one side, and other side it must be inserted. So we are totally applying the concept of pressure. One side less pressure, one side more pressure. So just with the help of the shape of the pen, we are able to maintain it. Next, you might have seen the coolie. Before he places the heavy loads on his head, he also places some cloth in the round shape. Now I hope you can relate it. So he understood, once he places the round cloth on his head, means he has increased the area over his head, and once the area has been increased, then what will happen? The force given by the load on his head will have less impact on his head, means he will get less hurt if he will increase the area, because by increasing the area with the help of the round cloth, he has decreased the pressure given by the heavy load on the head. So same concept is it in here. So the load will hurt less because the pressure has been decreased with the increase in area of his head with the help of round cloth. So without cloth, if you try to keep the heavy load on your head, you will have problem, you will get hurt, because that will give more pressure on your head. So it's very difficult to keep any sharp material on our head, because sharp material will have more pressure. Number 3, broad straps of the school bags. So the straps of the school bag are generally broad, because in the bag you are carrying the heavy loads, and once you are carrying heavy load, it will give pressure on your shoulder, means the loads will have impact on your shoulder, and we want to have less impact on the shoulder. So how to decrease? Area should be increased. So we are trying to increase the area of these straps, so it will have less pressure on your shoulder, so you will not feel it much, because overall we are carrying heavy loads, so force is already high on the shoulder. So the only option we have is change the area so that the pressure can be decreased. So same concept is applied here. Broader straps means more area, and since we know pressure is force upon area, so more is the area, less will be the pressure, and hence the heavy bag will hurt less on shoulder. So you can see this is totally based on the concept of pressure. So you are applying the science in real life, and you might not be knowing it. Number 4, broad wheels of heavy vehicles. Now you can relate the concept. If the vehicles are heavy, means they have lots of mass, their weight is very high, means they will give lots of pressure downward, and the entire pressure of the vehicle are balanced by the wheels, because wheels are at the bottom. So wheels are basically carrying the overall load of the vehicle, and if the load is high enough, then it is possible the entire vehicle can be inserted into the earth, means the vehicle can sink into the earth. So since the load is heavy, the force is high, so the pressure will be high. So what can be done? We can do something with the area which is in contact with the ground, so that somehow the pressure can be reduced and the impact can be less and the vehicle can move without being inserted into the earth, so it will not sink. So this is done with the help of broad wheels. So once we take the broad wheels, automatically the pressure will decrease on the ground. So this heavy vehicle will not give lots of pressure and hence it can move without any problem. So I hope you can relate this also. Hence the heavy vehicle will not sink into the ground because the pressure has been decreased with the increase in area with the help of broad wheels. Now syringe also you might have seen. So when any injection is given into the body, two requirements we have. Very first, the needle should be pointed enough so that it should be inserted into the body without hurting much. And second side, you are pressing the syringe with the help of the thumb, so you should feel comfortable to press. So on your thumb the pressure should be less, but into your body the pressure should be more by the pin so that it can be inserted. So you understood the needle is having very pointed end, so area is very less, so pressure will be more pointed end side, and other side the area is quite broad, so your thumb will get less pressure, so easily you can handle the syringe. So needle is pointed so that it can be easily inserted into body. As we know, pressure is force upon area, hence less is the area, more will be the pressure, so it can be inserted. And other end is broad, so it will give less pressure on thumb. Both the sides will be pointed, you can't operate it. So just imagine the other end of the syringe is also needle, so both the side we have needle. Can you handle it? No. So the needle can be inserted into your thumb also. That is how the science works in real life. So one concept is applied in lots of situations. You need to think, you need to see around, and you'll get the answer. So for today these topics are done. We have understood the meaning of balanced and unbalanced forces, and even though those topics have applications in real life, we'll see later on. We have understood the meaning of pressure. I have given you enough explanation and some applications of the pressure in the real life situations, and I hope you can find more examples from the real life and can relate with the concepts. This is how the science works. So since we have understood the concepts, let's try to answer some questions. So you will be trying to answer the questions. So the questions are given to you. Very first, write the SI unit of pressure. Now this I have not done because I want you to search and get the answer. SI unit, since we understood the pressure is something which we can calculate, because we got the formula of pressure, force upon area. So force we can calculate, area we can calculate, and if both force and area can be calculated, then pressure can also be calculated with the help of same formula. And if we are talking about calculation, means we should have a number and we should have some unit also, which we discussed in the previous class. For any kind of measurement we need to have a number and we need to have unit. So since pressure is a physical quantity, it will have some SI unit and you need to find out. So I hope you can get the answer. Second question is, how can we increase the pressure on an object by applying the same force? Explain with an example from everyday life. Means on the same object we are not going to increase the force or change the force, but I want the impact, I want the pressure to increase with the same force. So what can be done? So you cannot change the force, you have to do something else so the pressure can increase, and this you have to answer with the help of any one example from real life situation. So I hope you can try and you can answer. Question 3. It is difficult to cut cloth using a pair of scissors with blunt blades. Why? So it's very difficult to cut anything with the any object or any device which is not having so sharp edge. So if the edges are not so sharp, it's very difficult to cut. Even to cut the vegetables with the knife which are not having sharp edge is difficult. Why? So you need to answer. So we'll continue this chapter, and I hope you are finding interest. We'll have more and more examples from the real life to understand this chapter properly. And the pressure is very vast topic, and we have lots of things related with the pressure in this class also. So for today is done. Maintain the notes, do the questions properly, and any doubts just write down. We'll discuss in the live session. Thank you. Hari Om.